Hello everyone, I am Matt Williamson at Williamson NFL. How's everyone doing? I hope splendid. Not a lot to report, but today is Mailbag Day, and you guys ask good questions. I am impressed. You leave a lot of great responses on YouTube and on my page and all that good stuff, so I greatly appreciate that. And all right, let's just get to it. The overwhelming, well, a lot of you have had enough of my pronunciation of the Steelers' first-round draft pick. And I'll be honest, I know I've been saying it wrong every step of the way. I don't know why it doesn't roll off my tongue and lips well. I'm sitting here looking at pronunciations. I've had a good buddy even call me, who you would know, and say, this is how you pronounce it. I just asked him, get it right, basically. I get it. I'm practicing, guys. Fautanu. Fautanu. New. I'm butchered again. Fautanu. I've been practicing all day. I've been practicing for weeks, and it never rolls off my tongue naturally. I'll get it. I promise. Fautanu. Seems easy. Not for me for some reason. Anyway, here we go. Mailbag. Fautanu. That was good. There we go. Jamie Barber. Why is the Steelers' projected win total less than 500 again? I believe this will be the fourth straight year. Well, you would think with Coach Tomlin's history that 500 would be the baseline, if not better. And I think there's a lot of proof there. Now, I will say that Vegas only wants 50% of the bets on one side, 50% on the other. So 50% of the people out there must not believe that the Steelers are a 500 team. I understand there's an odd number of games. There's 17 games, so I get it. And I will say the arguments for me against going over 500 or over 8.5 wins, I guess, is they do, as it stands today, play the hardest schedule in the league, backed by the hardest division in the league, which I full-heartedly believe. We don't know their schedule yet, but we know the teams are playing, and it's difficult. We will talk schedule after Wednesday night when that pops out. We do, at this point, know the Ravens are opening the season in Kansas City. Does that mean there won't be a bunch of AFC North versus AFC North Week 1 games? I don't know. I also would prefer the Steelers are not the Week 2 opponent for Baltimore, because then they'd have 10 days to prepare for the Steelers. Anyways, I think a lot of it's schedule related. I think a lot of it is analytics, in that you're going to read a million times if you dig into, the weeds here. Steelers won way more one-score games than the league average. True. And history shows that comes back to the mean more often than not. One-score games is a hard thing to live with, to bank on. However, Tomlin does it every year. I mean, I think some people are just better than others at one-score games, just like some people are better than others at shooting free throws or kicking the ball through an upright. You know what I mean? I think the schedule has a lot to do with it, obviously, of why their win total is low. It is a awful schedule, and we talked through this, the hardest in the league. I think that the quarterback play scares people. I get that. It is either the answer. They're going to go back and forth. I'm just talking about outsider bettors' views. I think another thing you'll read is the Steelers are very unlikely to create as many turnovers as they did last year. Fair. 100% fair. But Minka probably didn't really take the ball away, and I bet he does more of it going forward. They've also been, 5-6 years in a row leading the league in sacks, and weren't in that neighborhood last year. Could they get back to near the top of that? So I'm just thinking about big plays on defense. I think the O-line's better. I think the weapons are worse. Receiver. But shortening the game, playing defense, run the ball with this staff and how they're built, seems like over 500 to me. I'm leaning that way. BetOnline is your number one source for all your summer sports this season, from Major League Baseball, golf, NBA, and NHL playoffs. All the latest stats, news, and scores available to follow all your favorite teams. Get the latest odds and lines, including the latest team matchups, player props, and odds on just about every sport out there. Head to the website today or use your mobile device to get in on the action. BetOnline, where the game starts. Fautanu. Again, practicing, folks. All right, the Fax Mob asks, no Tomlin extension yet, period. A crap ton of one-year rentals, period. Clearance of large unused cap space, period. No proven or developmental quarterback under contract, period. Removal of most of Colbert's picks, period. There's not a question in there. And we also, one thing we have not talked about is there's rumors. I hate the rumor stuff, but maybe Cam Hayward's going to get extended here soon, which would even open up more cap space, add another dude down the road. They also have a ton of cap space next year. Not a ton of people under contract, very, very little guaranteed money. I have no worries about Tomlin's extension getting done, nor Cam Hayward is going to hit the free agent market a year from now, like just out there taking calls where he's going to go. I don't think any of that stuff's going to be happening. The unused cap space, they can also roll over, but I do think they wanted, I don't know if the ship sailed, to add a receiver that might be pricey. Removal of most of Colbert's picks. I don't think that's personal. We have to have our guys, not yours. But a lot of those picks, the last couple drafts from Kevin, I didn't think were tremendous. Some were, some weren't. I don't know. I mean, I do think a big thing with all of this is eventually you got to find your quarterback. I mean, if that's Fields or Wilson, and then you talk extension with them, if that's going and paying for Dak Prescott on the free agent market a year from now, I mean, this is a team that could do that. Not every team is capable, but this team could. And I think Omar and the whole group realizes, let's build a line. Let's find a quarterback. Stay as competitive as we possibly can while we're doing those things. And most importantly, in order to make those things happen, let's stay as fluid and liquid as we possibly can with cap space and picks, and maybe somewhere along the line, they'll add another future pick, with a trade or something like that. I just need as many arrows in my quiver as possible, as many clubs in my bag as possible. So, yeah, those are facts. I mean, I don't think that means, in a way, they're kind of in their version of a rebuild, a restructuring, a new way of doing things. I think that's pretty clear. But in order to see that vision through, you have to have those assets. So I don't know how to exactly respond to that, but I did want to bring that one up as I thought it was a good topic. Fautanu. Not bad. Fautanu. Okay. And Coach Kerb asks, do the Steelers let the season play out before trying to resign Pat Freiermuth? I don't think so. I think they do this on purpose. This is my own little theory. But it seems like every year when we're at Latrobe and it's hot and it's starting to be the dog days of training camp, they give a fan and team favorite an extension and kind of picks up morale. And I think that's going to be Freiermuth this year. Like, I could see third week or whatever of training camp, it's hot, and then boom, it's announced they extended Freiermuth. I don't think they will let him test free agency. I'm not trying to get your hopes up, but I am expecting a career year from Freiermuth with a new coordinator and a new system and the quarterbacks in place, and frankly, the lack of receiver competition. Like, I will own Pat Freiermuth in some of my fantasy leagues. And I think that they are happy with him as well and will not let him test free agency. So I do not think they will let the season play out before re-signing Pat Freiermuth. Fautanu. I'm getting there. Along those lines, Brad Prentice asks, if this is a win-now approach, shouldn't the Steelers sit Fautanu and Frazier 4 to 6 weeks to avoid hitting the rookie wall in December, when they will be needed most? Can't win a playoff game with a gassed center and tackle. You also can't get to the playoffs with bad O-line play, or it's hard. I also don't know who's your center then. You know what I mean? Are you suggesting you run out and sign Mason Cole? You're going to force Herbig into there, which I think is a square peg in a round hole. You're going to put Moore at left and Jones at right, as opposed to just plugging in Fautanu at right and leaving Jones at left, which I think is the move. So I don't think so. I mean, Jones was much rawer than Fautanu at this stage a year ago. I mean, he was a lot more like Amarius Mims than, and especially in pass protection. And Frazier, go back and it was like, I guess it was yesterday, went through all the snap counts and stuff that these 3 offensive linemen that they drafted, went through or, put in college. And what's different about O-line than some positions is if I have a rookie receiver that's super fast, I can throw him out there for 20 snaps a game and he can run go routes. If I have an edge pass rusher that can't defend the run, I can still put him out there on 3rd and 8. But you can't do that with centers and tackles. You have to have a complete game. And I'm optimistic, as everyone is in May, and that's one of the beauties of the NFL is this is optimism season. But I think Frazier and Fautanu, getting better at it, are pretty well-rounded prospects, that without massive holes. They will have learning curves. There will be days, I think, when the O-line looks terrible. I mean, it could be week 1, the O-line looks terrible. Man, it doesn't, but it's going to take a little patience. Matt Sable asks, I read that Fautanu was a good fit for Arthur Smith's system, but does it really make sense to draft for a new system when you are not sure how well it will work here or how long the coordinator will be here? Yes, it does. I mean, if you have the advantage of drafting players that fit your offensive coordinator system, you have to have faith that you hired the right guy, and either him or a facsimile of what he did continues to be your theme. The continuity is important. Like I've told the story many times, but I spent a year on the Browns scouting staff, and I scouted for a Butch Davis defense that was a very basic 4-3 stack. The U, when they were awesome, not a lot of deception. And then they all get fired, and Romeo Crennel takes over, and I got to start scouting for a true Patriot 3-4 Will Fork Vrabel type. So basically I had to tear up all my notes. You know what I mean? But why on earth would we have brought Butch Davis guys in, even if for Crennel? So I think you can't look at it like we're just going to assume Arthur Smith stinks and his system's terrible. Why would I bring people in to fit it? I think you got to fit who you hire, or you didn't hire right. You know what I mean? And frankly, Fautanu would fit anywhere, to be very honest with you. I mean, yes, his movement, I think, fits the Arthur Smith system really well, but I would not say he's a very specific type of O-lineman that doesn't fit everywhere, to be honest with you. Last one here. Ben Cohen asks, mailbag question for you. With new kickoff rules and Boswell getting a bit older, does it seem likely that Cam Johnston, the punter, is going to be leading kickoffs, if anything to be a better last line of defense? I think this is interesting because you're implying kickers might have to tackle more, which I think is 100% true. And as a rule of thumb across the league, I would much rather have athletic punters, and punters are much more athletic, trying to tackle than kickers, who are the worst tacklers on the planet. That being said, I don't know how hard it is But your kicker now has to have some finesse too. He has to be able to drop it in that 20, yard zone. Could any punter with a little kickoff experience do that? I don't know the answer to that. I also don't know if Cam Johnston has any kickoff experience. Maybe he does, and maybe it's just the college level. I don't know. I don't know the background of that. But I just wanted to bring it up because that's just one more example of coaches, front offices looking at this kickoff rule maybe all through different lenses. Like, maybe do we want a better guy that can maybe get a returner on the ground kicking off? I thought it was an interesting way of looking at it. I expect Boz Foley to be the kickoff guy, though. All right, everyone. Take care.